It's Friday, I've got the day off, I haven't filmed anything in a month, so why don't you spend the day with me, because I'm going to try and have a dream day. I'm Jack, this is Spread Book Joy, and I haven't filmed anything in a month. My channel is Spread Book Joy. If you've not been here before, I talk about books and reading and the joy of reading and all those kinds of things, and I haven't filmed anything for a while, and I keep putting it off. And I keep putting it off. And I've got up today and I'm having a day to myself, and I've promised myself a wonderful day. And I've picked out some things that I've wanted to do for a while. I'm going to first of all go to the library because I've got some books to return. And I filmed a very quick short for reviewing one of the books because it is a Children's Book Prize winner. This lovely book, Rune. Very good. I can see why I would want it in the classroom. Not necessarily a book that, I mean, I enjoyed it when I was reading it, but it's not one necessarily that is, you know, hugely one of those children's books that adults will really enjoy, but some people might, because it's kind of got this really kind of wacky, irreverent world that these children fall into. But what's lovely about it is all the representation in it. So I really wanted to film a quick review of that, and I've been putting it off, and so I sat down and filmed a short. So I filmed a short today. Yay, well done me, because it's been ages since I filmed anything. I've had a week to myself, and I will talk about things as the vlog goes on, but today I'm having a day off. I've had a lot of work on, which is why I've not been looking at YouTube that much, looking at my comments, doing anything. So if you have commented on a video in the last month, my plan is this weekend to get round to doing that. I'm going to spend the whole weekend basically doing things for me. I've got a few lessons Saturday and Sunday mornings, I tutor online, and then the rest of the weekend is going to be on things, on personal projects. So one of them is getting back into booktubing, and I thought, well, I could do a vlog, couldn't I? I could do a vlog for today. Might extend it into the weekend, we'll see. I might get a bit fed up of filming myself because I don't want my life to be performative. That's why I don't vlog very often. But I'm having a day today where I'm going to live a dream vlog day. And I'm calling it that because, you know, when you watch, like, if anyone else loves to watch vlogs of like artists or creatives, like writers, spend the day with me, write my book with me, spend a day in the studio with me, those kinds of things. I find myself watching a lot of those because I think it's this idea of an ideal life, isn't it? That, you know, that's their sort of presenting it as this ideal, when we know in reality creative lives are very hard, and they're full of a lot of stress and worry. But I'm not a full-time creative. I am a content creator, but I do it as a hobby. But I'm going to live my life today as if I had one of those dream vlog lives. So I am going to go to the library first of all, because my local library, I've got some books that I need to return, Rune being one of them. And then I'm going to go to a place called the Devon and Exeter Institute, which is like I think it's like a library that's been there a long time. The building is a couple of 100 years old. It's in the Cathedral Close, which is a beautiful part of Exeter. And it's a members kind of library where you can, well, kind of, it is a members library where you can have membership for the year and use their library for research or just for spending time doing your own studying or projects in there, reading in there. They do events and things like that. So I'm going to go there because you can spend the day there as a trial member for £10. So I'm going to go and do that. And I'm going to then go and have a nice lunch somewhere. I'm going to go and pick up some nice food and come home for the evening. Yeah, so that's my plan. And in my head, I'm going to be, you know, enjoying the beautiful surroundings of this building, getting some creative stuff done because I have a Substack, which I have not done anything with since I opened it, and I want to start my Substack because I have a website I used to blog on and I haven't blogged for a long time. And I want to get back to that. So I'm going to have some writing plans today. I might do some fiction writing as well because I like to do that for fun and I haven't done any of that. So just like some small writing exercises and things, and just have a day of that kind of thing, really. Maybe a bit of reading as well. I'm currently reading Demon Copperhead with my friend Jolene from Bookworm Adventure Girl. We're reading that in honour of our friend Alice. We're doing Joy Reading June at the moment, so I'm promoting and running that. It doesn't take a lot of running really. I've just announced it with my friends Charlie and Gemma. We've been promoting the idea of reading for joy in June because it was something that Alice thought up. Our lovely friend Alice, who's you know, nearly 1 year ago to the day this weekend she passed away. So we're doing all of this to try and remember Alice and continue her idea of this reading for joy. So yes, so come with me for the day. I don't know what it's going to be like. I don't know if they're going to let me film in the DEI. I suspect not, but I will take some footage in and around Exeter. At the moment we're having a sunny morning. That is going to change in this afternoon and evening. We're going to have torrential rain yet again, because yesterday it was heavy rain. I say torrential, heavy. Yesterday we had really heavy rain, and when I woke up in the morning it was so dark I had all the lights on in the house. So this morning, beautiful and sunny. So come with me to the library, come with me to Exeter, and we'll chat, and I'll catch you up on life in between times. All right, well, let's get going. Curses, my dream vlog day is not going according to plan. So I realised when I was packing my laptop I had to send an invoice, so otherwise I won't get paid. I need to send it today. So a bit of work done on a day when I was promising myself no work. Plus, my cat's just been sick, so I have to go and clean that up. But let's resume my dream vlog after this brief reality interlude. I packed my bag, and I just want to show you the other thing I'm taking back. Unfortunately, it's God and Anatomy, which I got out of the library to read as part of Gareth's bi-monthly Belief and Behaviour book club, and I've reached my maximum number of renewals before I've read it. So I'm going to take that back. They might let me renew it while I'm there, but I can't do it online. I'm going to take myself a coffee, because I am just less and less inclined to buy coffee when I'm out, unless it's a really nice independent coffee shop that does really good coffee. Definitely don't like going to chain coffee shops if I can help it, because I just find them ridiculously overpriced for very average or bad coffee. So I've got my just plain black drip coffee with a tiny bit of sugar in it that I love, and I always enjoy far more than anything I have out. And I got myself a Tonics wafer. Who doesn't love a Tonics? So yeah, a little treat for me to have when I'm out and about. I'm also going to get myself some lunch while I'm out, so I'm not just going to restrict myself to this for the day. But yeah, I thought I'd just show you what I'm packing up. My iPad and a few other things, my book journal, and stuff like that. All right. Forgotten my microphone, but I thought I'd take advantage of being in such a nice spot to stop and catch you up on what I've been doing. It's been an hour, maybe an hour and a half since I last filmed anything. I went into the nearest town to us, I went to the library, and last time I went to the library to drop off some books that would have been overdue, the library was shut because of staff shortages, so they decided to shut on an additional day of the week, which just shows you how you really need to use your library services. I'm just sitting in front of Exeter Cathedral, and across the road from me, if I flip the camera around in a sec, is the Devon and Exeter Institution. I was calling it Institute earlier, it's Institution as it turns out. I went into the library and they let me off with the fines because I tried to drop off the books into a little slot and it was full. But it just shows you how you really need to use it or lose it with library services as well, and try and support them as much as possible. And yeah, I'm going to go into the place in a moment. I stopped to get some sushi at Yo Sushi. There is not a huge amount of choice in terms of sushi in Exeter. Exeter's lovely, it's about half an hour from us and I love it. It's a really nice town. Well, it's a city, obviously, it's got a cathedral. And you can come and sit on the green and the cathedral close, so like right in front of me is the sort of old houses that do I'm assuming they're owned by the church or whatever at some point, maybe they're rented out, but they're part of the cathedral close. But this is the boundary of the cathedral, I think, is the wall just in front of them. I don't know, but yeah, anyway. So yeah, I thought I'd take advantage of being here to film something, but I forgot my microphone, so best laid plans and all that. But yes, I'm going to go in, probably not going to have the whole day there now, but probably a good few hours, and if I'll try and film inside. If they tell me I can't, I won't. I'm going to go on that proviso. But yeah, obviously I'm not going to film people in there or anything, but just myself and maybe a bit of the shelves and what it looks like in there if I can. But yeah, what a nice day so far. Cat not, I did have to clear up some cat sick, but that is the real thing, real life. I'm going to stop waffling now and make my way in there. Good boy. I'm back home. It's about 6 o'clock in the evening, and so this is going to be a very short vlog, I suppose, but more of like catch up and just give you an idea of what I did today. You saw me sitting on the green in the last clip that I filmed, Exeter Cathedral, the green outside of it, where lots of people sit and have lunch, and it's a nice place to go. And then the cathedral close, there was the Devon and Exeter institution. So what a beautiful, beautiful place to do some reading or some research or some work. Just quiet and really like one of those dream libraries, really, that you dream about, like all the old books, comfortable chairs to sit in and read, peace and quiet, friendly people. I'm definitely giving serious consideration to joining, and if I want to also have time to think without distractions, and that place is perfect for it. So I did a little bit of thinking about some of the writing that I've been planning, and then I went and had some lunch, and I bought sushi with me, but they do lunch, because on the website it said bring a lunch with you. You've got places you can eat lunch, but I didn't realise they also sold lunches. So they do. There was a lovely woman in there who runs the sort of kitchen, the lunchroom, and they do all sorts of lovely sandwiches and light bites, really. And she also makes brownies and all sorts of things. So I had a brownie and a coffee after I'd eaten my sushi, and she was just so friendly, and she explained a bit about the history of the institution. And it's a really old building that was originally, I think, built as part of the cathedral close. So the cathedral is 1,000 years old, and it's a medieval building that was originally like owned by the church, by the cathedral, and they rented it or leased it to the Courtney family in the 1600s. And the Courtneys are an old noble family, and they were leasing the building. And so parts of the building are as the Courtneys had it. So the room where you have lunch is original Elizabethan, and the ceiling is original, and the sort of panelling, and yeah, it's a really beautiful room, and you can have lunch in there. And she was telling me about that, and the coats of arms that were not part of the original building, that were above the fireplace, but they were donated by the Courtney family to put up above the fireplace. And they're, yeah, just gorgeous. So the building was bought, the lease for the building was bought by a group of like young scientists and, you know, researchers in 1813. They leased it from the church for a long lease. And then 100 years later, they purchased it. So they purchased the freehold, which means they own the building. The building is now owned by the Devon and Exeter institution, and they kept the original. So the library part that you can see is from the 1800s. When they bought the building, that was an old Tudor style courtyard where the horses and things were kept within the courtyard in the centre of the building, and they turned those into the two libraries that you see now. And they kept they're basically, lots of the books there are from that period. So all the old books, you need a special archivist or librarian to go and get you what you need if you want to use anything in the archives. They have anything you ever want to know about the southwest of England. If you're doing any research on Devon, Cornwall, Somerset, Dorset, any of those counties, you can go there and do your research there. You can go in for a day for £10 or for the week for £25, which I think is amazing. But the whole year membership is like £120. So I'm giving serious consideration to getting a membership, because even if I just used it once a month, like that would be, I mean, I would use it more than that hopefully. But yeah, just a lovely, just to sit in a library like that, reading those books, was just a sheer delight to me. And everyone was so friendly. The building is beautiful. It's quiet, it's peaceful. There are rooms upstairs, sort of Regency era rooms were added on. The blue room, they call it, where you can do work and read and use it as a reading room. But they also have lectures and talks, and so sometimes the rooms are hired out. They have other rooms down the stairs. It's like a warren of small places, and you can book out the rooms if you want to for meetings and all sorts of things, and attend talks there. And they do tours, and they do tours for children, which I loved, because she said to me, the woman who runs the sort of kitchen area, she also does the tours for the children, and she's been there for years. And she said that when she first came there, I think they only introduced bringing children there in the last decade or so. Women were only allowed to be members, I think 100 years ago, but women were only allowed in there before they were allowed to be members, like 100 years after it opened. But the ironic thing was, the first librarian, when he passed away, his daughter, who knew the collection, was then installed as librarian, but she wasn't allowed to use the facilities because she was a woman. I thought that was a really interesting story, and they're trying to find a portrait of her, if there is one in existence, to put up somewhere. But yeah, what an amazing place. So one thing they did have was some secondhand books on sale while I was there, and I'm currently reading, so this is quite nice, catching up on what I'm currently doing, reading Demon Copperhead with Jolene, which I might have mentioned already earlier in the vlog. And so on the secondhand bookshelves was a copy of David Copperfield, a Wordsworth classic, but it's in pretty good condition. So I thought Demon Copperhead, if you weren't aware, is based on David Copperfield. And so, yeah, I'm enjoying Demon Copperhead. And so far, we're about halfway through the book. And yeah, I'm on the side of one of those people who are really enjoying it. Though at one point, things were so miserable, I was thinking if it carries on without any good things happening, I'm going to have to not read anymore, because it was just making me too miserable at certain points. But yeah, so David Copperfield, a copy of that, so I picked that up. The library, my local library that I went to beforehand, I returned some books to. I didn't film any of that, but I picked up a copy of Brotherless Night. So yeah, there's my copy of Brotherless Night. And because I was in Exeter and I was having a day of like, what would you do if you got a day to do whatever you want there? I went to my favourite charity shop in Exeter, which is Bookcycle, which I have talked about in previous videos. And if you want to see more footage of the inside, I've done that previously. I didn't really film inside. You'll see some shots of it from outside while I'm talking, but I didn't really film it from inside. And if you want to see the inside of it, I've got an old vlog which I'll link. Bookcycle is a very special place. You can only take 3 books per day. So when you go in there, it's run completely by volunteers and contributions, and the point of it is that you pay whatever you can afford for the books, and everything goes to charity, and the charity buys books for children around the world, and it also plants trees. So it's a great charity, and they always have a great selection of books, and it refreshes quite a lot. So you're only allowed to take, each person is allowed to take 3 books per day, and you can pay whatever you think. Like if you didn't have any money, they would take, you know, they would take 50p for the 3 books, or they would take £1. I always give more than that, obviously, but you give what you can afford. So I got a copy of the Walking Dead graphic novel, which I am loving. And the reason I'm loving this is Alice loved The Walking Dead, and Alice and I had a real shared love of dystopian fiction, and I love zombie end of the world apocalyptic stuff, and so did she. So I'm currently rewatching the entire series because it's on Prime, and I still have Amazon Prime, so I'm rewatching all the entire series. I'd only ever watched the first 3 seasons, and there are 11 seasons. But I started reading the graphic novels on Libby, and I loved them. I had to wait for the next one, which is volume 8. And so I've been watching the TV show, which has skipped far ahead of the comic books, and also very different. So I might have to, well, I was going to put a pause on watching the TV show until I'd read all the books. However, I'm getting them out on Libby, and the next few I've had to put on hold because they're obviously popular and people are getting them out. But this is the very first volume, and I just wanted my own copy. When I saw it, it's in really good condition. I was like, I want that on my shelves. So I got a copy of The Walking Dead Volume 1, and then I got a copy of Barchester Towers by Anthony Trollope. One of the other things that I finished in May, which made me very happy, was a buddy read of The Warden by Anthony Trollope. And I buddy read that with Pat from Book Chat with Pat, and we had a great time reading The Warden. It is the first Anthony Trollope book I've ever read, and I was encouraged to read Anthony Trollope because Katie Lumsden loves Anthony Trollope. And I thought, well, if Katie likes Anthony Trollope, I'm probably going to like Anthony Trollope as well. So I bought a copy of The Warden when I was in York, and Pat and I buddy read it together last month, and we are definitely going to be reading the rest of the Barchester Chronicles, and this is the second book, the Barchester Towers. So I picked that up in anticipation of reading that with Pat, and then they had a Barbara Pym that I don't have. So I always pick up Barbara Pym if I see Barbara Pym books because they're quite expensive. So yeah, it was quite nice to see this in a charity shop, and it was in pretty good condition as well. So this one is Less Than Angels, which I don't even look at what they're about anymore. Like if I just see a Barbara Pym, I pick it up because Barbara Pym is a brilliant writer, and yeah, I'm very pleased to have got that. So yeah, currently I'm reading the next volume of Walking Dead has come through on Libby for me, volume 8. I'm listening to Adam Buxton's new book, which is called I Love You, Bye, which basically is something he says. Adam Buxton, if you're not familiar with him, in America you will not be familiar with Adam Buxton, I highly doubt if you will, but he does a fantastic podcast, and he was one half of a comedy kind of duo, Adam and Joe, who did a show in the late 90s called The Adam and Joe Show, which we loved. And then he was on XFM, which is a great like radio station that we used to love listening to, and he's very funny and very silly, but also his last book, Ramble Book, was very all those things but very touching as well. And so this is his next instalment, so a bit about his life and his time getting on TV and creating the Adam and Joe Show with his best friend Joe Cornish, and Joe Cornish is the director. So yeah, really good. And what else am I reading? Yeah, I think that's it at the moment. I'm just really enjoying my reading. Last month I went on holiday, and because I wasn't filming and doing stuff and I was doing a lot of reading, I read far more than I've read in a long time. I read 14 books, 5 of which were graphic novels, Walking Dead volumes, but the rest 9 novels, which is a lot for me. It's a lot for anybody to read in a month really, but it's definitely a lot for me. But I was on holiday in Tuscany, and I want to talk about what I was reading and what I enjoyed, because I read some of my favourite books of the year. But I think I want to do that in another vlog, because I took a lot of footage in Tuscany, and Tuscany was amazing. And I read The Marriage Portrait, which is about one of the Medicis. So we went to Florence, and yes, I did some themed reading while I was over there. Yeah, so I want to talk about that. The other book I want to talk about is When Stars Are Scattered, because I'm doing a live show tomorrow with Katja from Page Turners with Katja. We are running Reading the Globe YA edition, which it's not YA, it's mostly middle grade we're reading, but we call it YA because YA and middle grade is just a big long mouthful. But she's running a translated and global fiction readathon for adults all year, one book a month, with Roz from Scally Dandling about the books, and I'm doing the YA middle grade edition with her, and we are reading translated and global fiction, one book every 2 months. And this was the book that was for March, April, and we are doing our live discussion of it over on Katja's channel or my channel. I'm not sure, it might be one. I'll put a link in the description box below if you want to join us. But this was a really important book. I would have this in every classroom. This book made me cry hard, and it's not just the book and the story in the book, but the rhetoric, the anti-immigration rhetoric that is being pushed around the world, when people who have been displaced by war and lost their homes need help. They need our help, they need our compassion, and this book will show you exactly why that is. So yeah, very important book. I'm going to be reading, talking to the Katja about this tomorrow, and I will catch you up on other things that I've been reading. I'm going to try and do that a bit more regularly. I think I'm going to do chat about my time in Italy and what I read in the month of May, which was a lot of it was while I was in Italy at the beginning of the month. And yeah, that's me for the day. I am going to call it quits on this vlog. I hope it's been interesting to you. I hope you've enjoyed spending my kind of dream day with me. And yeah, if you're ever in Exeter, highly recommend. You don't need to book in. You can just turn up at the Devon and Exeter institution and say you'd like to have the day there as a non-member, or a trial day if you live nearby and you want to try it out. What a lovely place, and what a special place. Feel very fortunate. Yeah, let me know in the chat what you've been up to, what you've been reading, if you want to chat about any of the books that I've mentioned, or if you just want to leave me an emoji of your choice just to let me know you've been here. That is also appreciated. And if you've never been here before and you like this rambling nonsense, I'd encourage you to subscribe for more rambling nonsense, and hopefully I will see you again here soon. Bye.